In the sun-baked streets of Palermo, Sicily, where the Mediterranean breeze carried the mingled scents of salt water, citrus groves, and simmering ragu from open kitchen windows, the year was 1922. The ancient city pulsed with life, fishermen hauling their catches from the azure sea, women in black shawls gossiping at the fountains, and children darting through narrow alleys like shadows. But beneath this vibrant tapestry lay a web of power woven by men who lived by an unbreakable code: respect, love, and honor. These were the foundations of the Cosa Nostra, the Sicilian mafia, where loyalty was currency, betrayal meant death, and family extended beyond blood. Vito Morti entered this world with the cry of a newborn in a modest stone house overlooking the harbor. His father, Giuseppe Morti, was a fisherman whose calloused hands pulled nets from the Tyrrhenian Sea, while his mother, Maria, tended a small garden of tomatoes and basil. Giuseppe was a man of quiet dignity, teaching young Vito the value of hard work and silence. "Rispetto, figlio mio," he would say, his voice rough from years of salt air, "is not begged for, it is commanded." But in Palermo, respect often came at a price. Giuseppe refused to pay pizzo, protection money, to the local don, believing a man's labor was his own. One moonless night, as Vito lay awake listening to the waves crash against the rocks, a single gunshot echoed through the streets. The next morning, Giuseppe's body was found floating in the harbor, a stiletto wound in his chest, his eyes staring blankly at the sky. Vito, barely 12, knelt by the corpse, his small hands clenched into fists. The grief twisted into rage, a fire that would burn for decades. The police dismissed it as a fishing accident, but Vito knew better. He swore on his father's grave to uphold the code Giuseppe had died for, honor above all. Maria, widowed and broken, sent Vito to work in the docks, where he unloaded crates under the watchful eyes of Don Salvatore Rossi's men. Don Rossi was a formidable figure, broad as a barrel, with a mustache like twisted wire and eyes that pierced souls. He controlled the smuggling trade, opium hidden in olive oil barrels, wine laced with secrets, and his word was law. By 18, Vito had grown into a strapping young man, 6 feet tall with broad shoulders honed from labor and dark curls framing a face etched with determination. His eyes, black as onyx, missed nothing. He caught Don Rossi's attention during a brawl at the docks. A rival from the Greco family tried to sabotage a shipment. Vito intervened, his fists flying like pistons, leaving the intruder bloodied and begging. Don Rossi, smoking a cigar on the pier, nodded approval. "You fight like a lion, ragazzo, come work for me." Vito's initiation into the life was swift. He started as a picciotto, a foot soldier, collecting pizzo from shopkeepers and enforcing debts with a switchblade tucked in his boot. The code was drilled into him: omertà, silence in the face of authority; rispetto, respect for the hierarchy; and amore for family, which now included the Rossi clan. Vito excelled, his loyalty earning him promotions, but love complicated things. In the bustling markets of Ballaro, he met Rosa Fior, daughter of a baker. Rosa was a vision: olive skin, hair like midnight silk, and a laugh that cut through the chaos like sunlight. They courted in secret, stolen glances over loaves of pane canzato, walks along the waterfront where Vito promised her the world. "I will make a life for us, Rosa," he whispered one evening under a fig tree, his hand on hers. "Away from this blood." She smiled, but her eyes held worry. "The life chooses you, Vito, be careful." The turning point came in 1925, amid the fog-shrouded harbor. Vito oversaw a midnight shipment, crates of contraband from Tunisia, opium veiled in silk. The Greco family struck, shadowy figures emerging from the mist, knives glinting. Gunfire cracked the night. Vito dove behind a stack of barrels, his old Luger pistol barking in response. He felled 2 assailants, their bodies splashing into the inky water. Don Rossi, grazed by a bullet, clutched his arm. "You saved me, Vito," he gasped, blood staining his silk shirt. "You have my gratitude. Go to America. My cousin, Don Angelo Lombardi in New York, will welcome you. Build our empire there." Vito's heart tore, leaving meant abandoning Maria and Rosa. At the Fior bakery, Rosa clung to him, tears soaking his collar. "Promise you'll send for me, Vito, on your honor." "I swear it, amore mio," he replied, kissing her fiercely. But in his soul, he knew promises in their world were fragile as glass. The steamer to New York was a floating purgatory: crowded decks, the stench of unwashed bodies, and the endless roll of the Atlantic. Vito arrived in 1926, passing through Ellis Island with forged papers, his name scribbled in a ledger among thousands chasing the American dream. New York was a beast, skyscrapers piercing the sky, streets choked with Model T Fords honking like angry geese, and the air thick with coal smoke and ambition. Little Italy welcomed him like an old friend, Mulberry Street alive, with vendors selling arancini and gelato, accordions wailing from open windows, and the murmur of Sicilian dialects. Don Angelo Lombardi's domain was Il Lupo Rosso, a speakeasy concealed behind a butcher shop facade. Prohibition had outlawed alcohol, turning it into forbidden nectar. Lombardi's men smuggled whiskey from Canada, distributing it in trucks with false bottoms. Vito was ushered into the back room, where velvet curtains muffled the jazz from the front. The Don sat at a mahogany table, flanked by bodyguards, his paunch straining against a pinstriped suit, gold rings flashing. "Salvatore says you're a man of honor, Morty, prove it." Vito bowed his head. "With my life, Don Lombardi." His first task, drive a load of bootleg gin through rain-lashed streets. The old Ford rattled, headlights slicing the downpour. At a desolate intersection, the Irish O'Bannon gang ambushed, Tommy guns chattering from alleyways, bullets denting the armored doors. Vito swerved, tires screeching, weaving through tenements until he lost them in the fog of Harlem. Delivering the cargo unscathed, he earned respect. By 1927, Vito was made a full member. The ceremony in a dimly lit basement, a pricked finger, blood dripping onto a saint's card set aflame. "If I betray, may I burn like this," Vito intoned. He assembled a crew: Luca Bianchi, a scar-faced enforcer with a grudge-prone temper, Marco Esposito, the accountant, sharp as a razor with ledgers, and Gino Russo, a head-headed youth hungry for glory. They ran rackets, numbers games in barbershops, protection for Little Italy merchants, and high-stakes poker in smoke-filled rooms. Vito enforced with precision, a broken finger for late payments, a beating for disloyalty, always stopping short of needless death. "Honor in mercy," he told his men. Love re-entered his life at Il Lupo Rosso. Isabella Conti, Lombardi's niece, performed nightly, her voice a sultry caress over the piano's notes. With auburn waves cascading down her back and dresses hugging her curves, she sang of lost loves and Sicilian moons. Vito watched from the bar, mesmerized. After a set, he approached. "Your song, it reminds me of home, Signorina." She turned, green eyes appraising. "And you, Signore Morty, remind me of danger. Care for a dance?" Their romance ignited. Clandestine meetings in Central Park, drives in Vito's new Packard along the East River, her head on his shoulder as the city lights twinkled. Isabella knew the life. Her father, a Caporgime, died in a hail of bullets from rivals. "Love here is fierce," she said, tracing his scar from a knife fight. "But so is betrayal." Vito's letters to Rosa dwindled, guilt a constant shadow. Honor demanded truth, but love for Isabella consumed him. Subplots darkened the narrative. Luca Bianchi simmered with resentment. His brother perished in a heist Vito planned, a stray bullet from cops. Luca whispered to associates, planting seeds of doubt. Gino Russo, meanwhile, fell for Kathleen O'Connor, an Irish lass with fiery red hair, sister to an O'Bannon enforcer. Their secret trysts in neutral Brooklyn parks threatened alliances. "She's worth the risk," Gino confided to Vito. Stock market crash of 1929 plunged America into despair, but for the mob, it was opportunity. Bootlegging surged as men drowned sorrows in illegal hooch. Don Lombardi eyed Chicago, Capone's turf. Vito led a conv, old trucks laden with whiskey, crossing state lines under moonless skies. In a warehouse raid, Tommy guns roared, the air acrid with gunpowder. Vito charged, his Thompson submachine gun bucking, downing 3 Capone men. Blood slicked the floor, they seized the hall. Retaliation came swift. Federal agents, inspired by untouchables like Elliot Ness, raided Il Lupo Rosso. Sirens wailed, patrons scattered. Vito grabbed Isabella, fleeing through tunnels to the sewers, emerging soaked in Chinatown. "We fight on," he vowed. In 1930, Vito wed Isabella in St. Leonard's Church, the Don beaming as he gave her away. Their honeymoon, a lavish suite in Atlantic City, champagne flowing, but Vito's Tommy gun never far. "Ti amo eternamente," he murmured, their bodies entwined. Prohibition's end in 1933 shifted gears, unions, construction kickbacks, loan sharking. Vito rose to underboss, but success bred envy. Luca's betrayal crystallized. He fed tips to the feds, leading to a busted gambling den. Vito confronted him in a foggy alley. Fratello, why? Luca drew a pistol. Your orders killed my blood, no honor. The fight was brutal, fists, knives, grunts echoing. Vito disarmed him, pressing the blade to Luca's throat. Go, exhale, that's honor. Luca vanished, but the wound festered. Gino's subplot exploded. His affair with Kathleen discovered, though Bannon's demanded tribute. Peace talks in a neutral diner turned ambush, Tommy guns from under tables. Gino shielded Vito, taking bullets to the chest. Boss, tell her, he gasped, blood bubbling. Vito's vengeance was cold. A car bomb outside an O'Bannon pub, flames engulfing the night, screams piercing the air. Don Lombardi anointed him. You're ready, Vito. Fatherhood arrived in 1934 with Antonio, a squalling infant who softened Vito's edges. Isabella cradled him, singing lullabies. He'll know honor, Vito promised. World War II in 1939 twisted fates. The family aided the Allies, smuggling intelligence via Sicilian contacts, Luciano's Operation Husky paving invasion paths. Vito met Charles, Lucky, Luciano in a clandestine hotel, forging pacts. In 1942, crisis peaked. Capone's remnants, allied with exiled Luca, kidnapped Isabella from their brownstone. Vito's rage was volcanic. He rallied the crew, tracing them to a rural New Jersey farmhouse. Dawn assault, old Cadillacs roaring up dirt roads, Tommy guns blazing. Vito stormed in, bullets whizzing, rescuing Isabella from a cellar. Luca faced him in the barn. End it, Morty. Gunfire echoed. Luca fell, honor satisfied. Post-war 1946 brought prosperity, legitimate fronts like Vito's restaurant, La Sicilia, serving eggplant caponata to celebrities. Antonio grew, learning respect through stories, not blood. But echoes lingered. In 1950, Luca's son, Paolo, sought vendetta, chased through Little Italy, cars smashing fruit stands, shots ringing. Vito cornered him in a church. Your father chose betrayal. Break the chain, ragazzo. Paolo fled, cycle broken. Agging gracefully, Vito and Isabella retired to a Long Island villa, grandchildren playing in gardens. Vito reflected on porches, cigar in hand. Respect built us, love sustained us, honor defined us. Vito passed in 1960, heart failure, buried in a mausoleum with Lombardi. His eulogy, a man of shadows, illuminated by the code. Isabella joined him years later, their love eternal.